Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So this video is a somewhat of a technical video and a discussion video regarding raids and even the gear and weapon systems. So my last video, I showed this scenario where I was able to help out my team because I had a really solid Foundry Bulwark build. It had a chest piece and a backpack, and that was on my PlayStation account. Over the course of that time, and even in some other videos where I've actually shown some builds and all, I've seen some comments that have said, it's really unfair that, some people can't necessarily get in to do a raid, so it feels like you can't necessarily get those items, and so you find yourself in a situation where you're stuck. And the answer to that is very simple. There are alternatives. Now, personally, I'm not a fan of raid exclusives. Look through my video history on the Eagle Bearer and all the stuff about raid. I have rallied against this. I'm very loudly as well. I think if you want to find anybody that's basically complained a lot about the exclusivity behind the raids, I'm probably number one because I have almost half a dozen or more videos regarding the raid matchmaking being unavailable and all of those things that would allow for players to be able to get into that. But the devs have decided that, or whoever the decision makers have decided that they're going to let those fall on deaf ears. So to their own, loss anyways, I think if they had opened it up, there would have been a lot more community benefit. In the comment section, nonetheless, or description, I'll try my best to leave a Discord link to join the LCN clan. This is the clan that I'm a part of on PlayStation. There are regular raids. The Discord server is available. You can go in there if you need help, and somebody will help you. Nonetheless, there are a lot of alternatives that you can use to achieve similar results to what you can find in the raid in many cases. And the reason I say that is because something is true about what's been said in the community. For the longest time, the raid exclusive items really did outshine a lot of other things. I mean, it was a no-brainer. The Eagle Bear in the Dark Zone, you could almost not face somebody with an Eagle Bear in the DZ one-to-one. You were basically going to get toasted. But now you can take your AKM, build very well, and you can go back and forth with somebody with an Eagle Bear and you can come out on top. It's not necessarily that much of a disparity if you build well. You have a lot of skill. You can even see from the build that I'm using, even if it's not necessarily a DPS spec build, that my military AKM does have a higher base damage than the Eagle Bearer. Now, granted, the Eagle Bearer does have some of these mods that allow for it to be slightly more powerful, but it doesn't necessarily change anything much. You can achieve similar with another weapon if you do very well. And this is just on the side of, basically simple weapon to exotic weapon comparison. I have to say, the small Magnum that's in Iron Horse, I have that one. I can't even remember the name. That one is a whole different weapon in its own sense. So yes, it requires a lot of skill to aim for headshots to be able to do the kind of work that weapon does, but it doesn't still prevent you from using a Liberty if you don't have that sidearm yet, because that sidearm requires for you to play the raid multiple times and then get all the components and then go find yourself a Police 686 Magnum in order for you to be able to build it. That's why I kept this 686 Magnum, and if you haven't noticed, I have never beaten Iron Horse raid on this account. On PlayStation, nonetheless, I have. So I know what I'm saying, and I've lived through not having these items to play, and kind of test out and engage in missions with. So what am I talking about in terms of alternatives when it comes to gear and from the tank side? Because I'm more interested in playing the tank build. So first of all, when you look at the Foundry Bulwark, if you don't have the backpack and chest piece, the alternatives are you probably need to build with True Patriot, use the Talent Galvanize on your backpack, and potentially see if you can use Adrenaline Rush on your chest piece in a sense. This is something that would really give you some level of the upper hand when you're running into legendary missions. In fact, this build, I actually took this concept from another YouTuber. I made a video referring to it and pretty much pointed to his channel. And I didn't do a build video. I just told everybody, hey, if you're looking for a nice build and you don't have all the raid items, this build will work for you. And it was actually presented by this YouTuber. I put a link to the comment and basically pointed everybody to go watch that video on why that build had that philosophy. I went ahead and modified the build by using the tardigrade system because this works better for a team effort. Tardigrade is something that you can get anywhere. You don't need any exclusive, content or engaging in any exclusive missions. It can drop for you from the True Sons missions or activities or whatever it is, or you can use, the targeted loot system and get a potential drop for the targeted armor system. This basically gives your teammates about 80% of your armor for about 10 seconds as a bonus once their armor breaks. And it cools down for about 45 seconds per ally. It's actually pretty decent as well. And then another thing too is, if you think about, say, the backpack talent, Galvanize, it says applying blind and snare, confuse, or shock to an enemy grants 40% of your armor as bonus armor to allies within 20 meters of that enemy for 10 seconds. So using this particular weapon, the Scorpio, I can just be shooting enemies, doing damage, stunning them, crowd controlling them, while my teammates are having their armor topped up on different levels. And this is why I said that you don't necessarily need the Foundry Bulwark, chest piece, and backpack to actually be really strong and very useful in the context that you're playing with. True Patriot provides another option, because a lot of people don't necessarily talk a lot about True Patriot. But if you look at the 4-piece True Patriot set, it does give you something that's actually pretty cool. So with that, it says in terms of the 4-piece, it says the red, white, and blue, there's something that's really cool here. It says shooting the enemy repairs the attacking agent's armor by 2% once every second. Now, it also decreases the enemy's damage dealt by 8%. This is a very, very good trade in terms of how you're going to be looking at this particular set and how it works for people that are actually wanting to run, this particular setup. And so this also provides you a very good, shield build that not only can absorb a bunch of damage, but reduce the enemy's damage that the enemy is dealing to other players and increase the damage that the enemy takes from other players. So True Patriot actually, in a sense, when it comes to utility, when it comes to builds for a team, True Patriot actually slightly edges out Foundry Bulwark, thereby almost rendering Foundry Bulwark as something that is only going to be used as a preference or whatever it is you want to build with. And so the developers actually did go ahead and do this. And this was a very huge pain point within the community, because for the longest time, there were people who said, hey, we want to get these weapons. There are people getting these weapons and they're going in the dark zone. They're edging us out. We can't compete, especially with the Eagle Bear. The Eagle Bear was the one that caused this particular, point of strife. And the developers went ahead and made a modification to the Eagle Bearer and pretty much nerfed it. So now, like I've said, you can pretty much find a weapon that would do good work for you, like the Eagle Bearer could, even though the Eagle Bearer is unique in a sense. It has a specific unique point with the tenacity buff, which is what sets it apart. But again, in PvP, if you go around and watch a lot of your PvP videos, go watch, the folks that are doing PvP runs, the vibes. Look at Mr. Kamikaze Von Doom. These two agents, they are dedicatedly, consistently playing PvP in the community. I mean, I know there are other people, but I don't necessarily watch their content. But these two, they're kind of in my closer circle, so I watch their content at a bias. They necessarily don't run their EBs anymore, and they're actually quite decent at PvP. So you need to ask and say, what are they running that's not necessarily these raid exclusive items that I can get my hands on? And I can guarantee you that the builds that they recommend are builds that are, made up of items that are readily available for other people. So this is just in the sense of the tank. Now, I know there's also going to be the question of the Future Initiative as well. And I know the Future Initiative is a good healing setup. Now, in terms of the healing setup, the Future Initiative is raid exclusive, but there is a set of items that you can use to achieve a good healer. Now, I made a video also where I actually had somebody who's a dedicated healer in the division. He plays only healing builds, and he did a whole walkthrough of what a healer should be. I'll link that video, and he'll give you build ideas using both items that you can get from the raid. That's the Foundry, the Future Initiative chest piece and backpack, and even without the Future Initiative chest piece and backpack as well. Because again, like I said, on this particular agent here on PC, which is where I've invested most of my time, I have never completed the Iron Horse raid. But it's never really stopped me. If I found myself in a position where I had to play a healer build, I can pretty much put together the items that I need. I know I'll need 3 pieces of the Future Initiative. I'll have to use a backpack with what's the name of that talent that's got the little animal on there? It's been a while, man, since I've touched that talent, so I don't necessarily remember its name. But there's a talent that gives like, a crazy amount of healing boost to, to your teammates when they're actually, in a healing. or you could just go with the regular 4-piece and add some other items out there, and it would do a very good job for you. So there are a lot of options out there, and I strongly believe that it's a matter of just fine-tuning exactly what it is you want to play as. Because when you go to play the raids, or when you go to play whatever the missions are, and I understand, you're going to use the items that you have. You're not going to be able to use items that are not yet in your possession. So think about it. Everyone who played the raid, before they got their Foundry Bulwark chest pieces, before they got their Future Initiative backpacks or whatever, they had to play the raids with whatever it was that they had. And then once they were able to get those items, they spec builds along the lines of them. In my case, I just was fortunate to find a group of people that were like-minded that wanted to help out with that. And I will recommend them to you. Like I said in the comment section, there's going to be a link for the Discord server. Join it. Ask. Just ask. That's what it's there for. I know some people are very, very, in a sense, self-dependent. You don't want to ask. But that's what the raid is designed for. I think the developers wanted to force and basically strong arm us to engage in a community style way of gaming, which is not convenient for everybody. But when you're about to achieve something that you're going to achieve either way, you're just going to go ahead and do whatever it is that it takes. And it's not like I'm asking anyone to do anything illegal, just something that we've already always done in this community, which is sometimes you just put a shout out and say, hey, agent in need of something, and people will definitely be happy to help you with that. Hope this video was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in another video. Comment below on alternative builds that you've used to replace whatever it is that's behind the raid, especially for those of you who have the raid items that don't even use a lot of them. And I guess that's pretty much the video. Peace out.